Good morning, traders. I'm Emily Bonney, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Tuesday, September 2nd. We kick off a new month of trading today after an extended holiday weekend and as investors are following the latest on the Trump tariffs. Stocks ended last week and the month of August on a downbeat note. On Friday, all three major indices did close lower. The Dow gave up 92 points or 0.2%. The S&P 500 lost 41 points or 0.64%. The Nasdaq dropped 249 points or 1.12%. Still, the averages finished the month solidly higher. Bill, let's get into today's action with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Hi, yes. Good morning, Emily. I'm watching the S&Ps. We're definitely weaker. We're down 0.78%. We're ready this morning. I mean, it was a long holiday weekend. A lot of moving pieces happening. I mean, the first thing you got to remember is September is a very cautious month for the markets. I mean, if you look at the last 5 years, the S&P averaged, a drop of 4.2% during the month of September. And, if you go back, 100 years, September has seen some of the worst drops. So you got to be cautious going into this month. And, right now you see, negative sentiment that's really being caused due to Friday night's court decision on the Trump's tariff agenda. Remember, I mentioned this, Friday. I said, listen, we got to be cautious because there is a tariff agenda, the tariff a ruling coming from those federal courts, and the federal appeal courts ruled that the president exceeded his authority to impose tariffs. Now, that's creating a lack of clarity for the markets. They restated and they stated that, the act of, placing tariffs, that duty lies with Congress, not the president. He used the Emergency Powers Act to kind of say, I have to do tariffs, and you can't really do that. But they are letting tariffs to remain in effect until October 14th, which is giving the government time to seek a Supreme Court review. So just a lack of clarity around this tariff situation. That's causing some nervousness. And then, I see President Trump, he's going to be making an announcement today at 2 p.m. I don't have any details on that, but we'll have to wait and see what he says there. Congress is back in session after that August recess. Their focus is going to be on, talks to avoid that government shutdown. I mean, remember that government shutdown's coming at the end of the month. Key economic data point for today is that ISM Manufacturing PMI, which is out after the opening bell. We got a number of good earnings coming out after the bell. We got Zscaler and Health Equity thereafter. They're out today. And Macy's, Campbell Soup, and Dollar Tree, they're all coming out tomorrow morning. If you're looking at the global markets this morning, we got to take a quick look over at Europe. And Europe is, Europe is in the red. There's no way around it. You're looking at the DAX, it's down 347 points. That's down 1.45%. The annual inflation rate in the Eurozone jumped up to 2.1%, which is the highest level in 4 months. And then you get the Russian-Ukraine conflict, which just continues to escalate. The FTSE's down 0.52%. Some weakness in home builders, utility stocks. In France, the Paris, the CAC is down 0.19%. With financial stocks, it's seen some weakness due to the political issues in that pending confidence vote that's happening at the I think September 8th, I believe, is the date. Then you're looking over at Asia, and Asia was mixed bag. I mean, the Nikkei rose 121 points or 0.29%. With positive action in the retail stocks. Hong Kong fell 120 points or 0.47%. It was up the day before, but the losses were the losses that we saw were in the same sectors we normally see: consumer stocks, property, and tech. And China fell 0.45%. They did have that August private manufacturing PMI data did tick into positive territory, so that kind of cushioned the market a bit. Then we're turning our attention over at oil, and oil is spiking this morning. We got both contracts up over 1.5%. WTI is at $65.79 a barrel, whereas Brent is at $69.28 a barrel. It's that Russian-Ukraine conflict. It's escalating. Ukraine hit some Russian oil facilities within a drone attack, and I don't see any, signs of de-escalation occurring this week. So, but there is an OPEC meeting this week, so that could be something. But that's what I have for you in terms of morning market update report, Emily.
Bill, as you mentioned, we're going into the new month here in September. We're back in action after sort of the lull in August and vacations. And as you mentioned, Congress is back in session. So we're continuing to watch that. We're following these trade developments when it comes to the ruling on tariffs. You mentioned some key economic events and earnings action. You are starting out the month on the right foot. You are ahead of the markets because you're gathering all of this information. You're getting back to your desk on this Tuesday morning, and you're going to be prepared for the week and month ahead, even if there's a little bit of cautiousness in the air with September. We will start with diving into earnings action, getting some more details there. So, Bill, give us a rundown. What's happening when it comes to earnings?
Well, the only earning that came out so far this morning was Signet Jewelers, ticker SIG, Sam India Grace. I mean, they beat by 37 cents, and you look at the stock this morning, and Signet is trading higher. It's showing a nice run this morning. What's it up? I saw it hit. It's 93.50. It actually hit a high at 96.06 earlier this morning. So yeah, Signet Jewelers. We're still waiting on the Academy of Sports and Outdoors. That hasn't come out yet. After the bell today, you got Health Equity. That's ticker HQY. Their EPS is 92 cents with the expected move of 8.62%. You also have Zscaler, ticker ZS, Zebra Sam. Their EPS is 80 cents. Expected move is 10.40% when they release after the bell today, Emily.
Bill, that one earnings report that has been released, Signet Jewelers, happens to have been your pick of the day from Friday, up pretty big this morning. We will do a full check-in on that pick of the day before we get to the end of the show, so stick with us through that. Now, on to the day's economic events. We are starting off this shortened trading week with at least a few key pieces of information. Bill, what is going on in terms of the day's economic events?
You get the ISM Manufacturing numbers coming out today. There's also construction spending coming out today. But for the week, the key economic data point for the week is really going to be that non-farms payroll report that's coming out on Friday. Remember, that's going to be the last data point for the Fed before they go and vote on for the next FOMC meeting. This is also last week that they're going to be able to speak publicly because next week they're on blackout period. So we're going to be paying attention to Fed speak this week, and I think there'll be a little more than usual that's already scheduled. But that's what I have for you today. ISM Manufacturing Index at 10 a.m. and construction spending at 10 a.m. today, Emily.
And we will continue to watch economic data throughout the week. As you mentioned, some key indicators will be released that the Fed uses in their next decision. So we want to stay on top of that, and along with any Fed speak. And speaking of keeping on top of data, news, and information, you're using your NewsWare this morning, as you do every morning, to catch up on things like merger news, guidance news, shareholders meetings, buyback news, and catalyst calls. You're looking at your stocks grouped together, like your FANG stocks and your Dow 30 stocks. So Bill, what else do you see is possibly moving the markets today?
Just doing a quick data check here. I'm looking at my Dow stocks. I got 24 lower and 6 higher. That's not a great way to start off the day, but I'm not really surprised because the lack of clarity is causing some nervousness in the markets this morning. Looking at my FANG stocks, they're all trading lower as well. So we're definitely going to have a weak opening this morning. But sometimes a weak opening is an opportunity. That's how you got to look at it. You're looking at some of the news behind the tape, and you're looking at Apple. Apple now requires automation as a standard prerequisite for awarding manufacturing contracts. Interesting. Amazon's getting hit this morning. It's down almost 0.4%. There's a report out there that indicates a slowdown in Prime signups. As a result, Amazon really is tightening its account sharing program. So yeah, that's probably true that there was a big slowdown in Prime signups. Looking at Meta. Meta's looking into partnerships with Google and OpenAI for AI features. Looking at Tesla. China EV sales fell 4% in August compared to last year. Looking at Dow Jones 30 stocks. We got some Boeing, ticker BA. They secured an order for 37 MAX jets from Macquarie Air Finance. Walmart WMT. Walmart Plus to offer members a new streaming option of Peacock. Remember, there's going to be more of that to come. I mean, they really got to compete. They're big competitors, Amazon, and I could see them doing more of these types of deals. So that could wait for more of that to occur with Walmart. What else do we see? Talking merger news, Air Lease, ticker AL, they're going to be acquired by for $7.4 billion by a group of investors. In terms of guidance news, Signet Jewelers, ticker SIG, they raised their full year 2026 EPS view to $8.04 to $9.57. Street estimate has it at $8.94, so that's a nice uptick. Humana on Friday night, they backed their full year adjusted EPS of $17. Street estimate has it at $16.93. That's an uptick. In terms of catalyst news, you got to talk about Kraft Heinz, KHC, Kilo, Henry, Charlie. They're going to be split into two companies in a growth push. That's what I see for you about news hitting the tape this morning, Emily.
This is the type of data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional Newswire delivers. It is now that time of the show for the Trade Talk pick of the day. Bill, kicking off a new month. What do you have for us today?
I got Health Equity, HQI, Henry Quinton Yellow. Earnings are due out after the bell. 92 cents is the EPS estimate. The expected move is 8.62%. Friday's call volume, 337 calls versus 122 puts. Light, but was Friday before a holiday weekend, so okay. Open interest, 4,235K to 2,525K. Still very positive on the call side. Major brokers do like the stock. They have been raising price targets, and that's what I like to see. And they did raise their EPS guidance last quarter, so that's positive. In terms of an entry price for HQI, I mean, you're going into a weak market. You're going to go into a weak market. I mean, I think the stock could break $89. I want to get in under $89. I want to get in 88.50 to 88.75. That's my target price range is what I'm looking for, but definitely under 89. But that's my pick of the day. Health Equity, ticker HQY on an earnings play, Emily.
Health Equity, as you mentioned, will follow that along with you and looking at some possible weaknesses opportunity here on this Tuesday morning. And coming up, as I promised, we will do a recap on Friday's pick of the day, so stick with us through that. But first, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our Hot Off the Press segment. Bill, take it away.
STZ, Sam Tom Zebra, Constellation Brands, Stars, used to be known as Stars Constellation Brands. They see inventory rebalancing reflecting softer consumer trends in Q2. Interesting. McDonald's, they're announced 2 extra value meals. They've been working hard to make meals more affordable, and they really want to continue to get people in the door. So when they're in the door, they make money. Ooh, PepsiCo, PEP, Paul Edward Paul. Shares are up big. Elliott builds a $4 billion stake in PEP, Paul Edward Paul. Biogen, Biogen's BIIB. This is kind of interesting because along with another drug company, Etsy, they got FDA approval for injectable Alzheimer's treatment. That's very positive for BIIB. Boy, India, boy. Novo, ticker NVO, says Wegovy cut risk of heart attack death by 57% compared to a different drug. Interesting. Intel announces amendment of the CHIPS Act deal, receives $5.695 billion early. Interesting. So it was in a reg filing. That's all I'm seeing this morning.
Okay, Bill, before we sign off and dive into trading, let's do that check-in on Friday's pick of the day. We pointed it out early in the show was Signet Jewelers. As you told us, they did release earnings this morning, a nice big beat. The company reported a Q2 adjusted EPS of $1.61. The consensus here had been $1.24. They report a Q2 revenue of $1.5 billion, and that was in line with consensus estimates. They reported Q2 same-store sales up 2% versus last year. They also raised their guidance. It's up this morning, Bill. How did your call work out?
Worked out fabulous. It really did. I mean, you look at the stock on Friday, it opened up at $90.28, which I just said, man, that's too high. This market's heading south. I don't want to go. I don't want to pay up for this stock. And so I called an entry price of $87.50, and the stock opened up at $90. But it did fall. It fell all the way down to $86.71. And then it rallied back and it actually closed, at $88.08. And then in the aftermarket, it was trading over 90. And this morning, it's already hit a high of 96.06. I mean, it's trading 93 right now, but you definitely made the 1%, whether you got it at the opening price or whether you got it at my entry price. I mean, but I was really surprised. My entry price was really darn good on Friday. But either way, you made it. You made your 1%. So Signet Jewelers, ticker SIG, Sam Indy Grace was a winner on Friday. Emily was a winner.
A nice solid win there, Bill. And I will point out that it was a down day in the markets. And with that pick, you had 21 picks in August, only 2 flat trades, and only 1 real loss. And pointing out that there was a couple of big movers, including one that moved as much as 17% higher. So without those flat trades and some big wins, we are looking at a 95% win rate for August. We will see how September kicks off when we check in with you tomorrow about today's health equity pick of the day. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here tomorrow and each weekday morning this week at NewsWare's Trade Talk when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Advani, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.